Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're here to talk about episode 11 of Vampire Dormitory. One of the many themes that can be explored in fiction is the idea that if you tell too many lies for too long, eventually even you will cease to know what is the truth. This, to me, is the overarching theme of this episode of Vampire Dormitory, and is actually one of the key themes of this show altogether. And this week, everybody was, in one way or another, a pretty little liar. Whether it is Len doing the stuff that he has done to erase Mito's memory, and being unable to be truthful to himself about the reality that he might think he cares about her, but he really doesn't, because if he did, he wouldn't be doing things that weren't in her own best interest. We have this from Ruka, who has been denying his feelings toward Mito because he felt they would go against the wishes of the clan. And now we have the situation with Mito not even remembering his name. Talk about taking this concept into full and just running with it. We have Mito herself, who has been basically being confused about whether she is Mito with the long hair who is a girl, or whether she is Mito with the short hair who is a boy, and who, as I've said in other discussions on this topic, reminds me a lot of Kagome from Inuyasha, in that whenever Kagome does something where she is in competition or in conflict with Kikyo, she feels like she's betraying herself. And whenever Mito envisions herself as a woman being with Ruka, she actually feels as though she is betraying Mito as a man. And I've always found that really interesting. And now we have her at this point where she has asked to forget Ruka, and Len has found a way to grant that wish for her, and it just is what it is. It is crazy. I also want to say about that particular situation that this, to me, is another indicator of the fact that Len doesn't actually really love Mito, because Len keeps doing things that will change Mito. He took away her original sex. He has altered her memories. He's using her as a servant. He is blocking her from the person he should be aware she actually likes, because it's in his best interest. These are not the behaviors of somebody who loves you. Now, nobody, regardless of who it is going to do every single thing in the world with your best interests in mind. People are human, and they will do human things. That's understandable. But Len's every action is always toward his own self-gratification, and never hers. And often, he gets in the way of what she would actually want for herself. On the other hand, he might have been clueless and an absolute dolt for the majority of the season, but when we actually look at the actions that Ruka takes, when he realizes what's going on, and once he realizes the depths of his feelings, which goes back to that liars thing I was talking about, he's been denying his feelings because of consequences, social pressures, and any number of other things for weeks now. But now that he realizes what his feelings are, he is basically ready to say, to hell with the consequences. I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to be with who I'm going to be with. I think a lot of this pressure would have been much easier if Komori hadn't been an absolute moron, but Komori did save Mito in this episode, so we'll give him a pass. He isn't just dealing with two teenagers in love. He's trying to determine the next leader of the vampires, so the man's got some stuff going on, so I will give him at least a little bit of leeway. These guys need to prove who is actually fit of being leader. And then we have to consider the reality of the behaviors of Mito herself. If Mito had become more honest, more open, and more clear with people, especially those very close to her, she might have been taking a risk, but I think the payoff would have hypothetically been worth it. And the thing is, in her position and in her way of thinking, she probably felt she wasn't really taking a risk by hiding the truth of who and what she is. But we are seeing very clearly now that that was not so. And there are always consequences when you choose to lie to people, starting, as I've said a billion times in these discussions, with the reality that if you are lying to people, you can't actually truly connect with them, because every single thing you have told them is based on an absolute sham. And that is no way to make friends, that is no way to find love, that is no way to find anything. So everything that's happened from word go, and I still believe to this day, the reason that heart has never turned pink is because everything that's been happening thus far is based on a lie. But I mean, it goes even further here. Mito wants not only to lie to others, but now, because of her request to Len, actually wants to be lied to. Mito is not able or willing to sit with herself in the pain of her loss and actually address and deal with it. She isn't willing to recognize what it means or how she feels, and instead utilizes the powers of her friend to actually alter the way that she thinks. And in doing so, she falls right into the trap set by Len's father. Let's talk about him next, because this man is a freaking piece of work. And I mean that in the worst ways possible. First off, he's obviously a shit person, whether you're saying human or vampire. He's a piece of shit. Second off, he's a shit villain, and I'll tell you why. You want me to tell you what makes a shit villain? A shit villain is a villain who monologues. That crap is dumb. That crap is like 80s cartoon dumb. That crap is what you do to your villain if you want your villain to be an absolute joke. He's also made the mistake of letting his opposition remain alive. Now, I understand that theoretically, in order to get Len to become a full vampire, he needs to do something with Mito so that he can actually get rid of his Damphir status, which is what the father needs for Len to get the position as the leader of the clan. But by keeping Mito alive, he is ensuring that there is a possibility for Ruka to actually succeed. He is in a no-win situation. And if he wanted to find a way for Len to become the leader of the clan, he needed to find a different route, and this path that he's chosen was a tremendous mistake. It is only down to the decency of heroes, in my opinion, that Komori did not boot that cat out of the freaking carriage and let it blast off into space like it was Team Rocket. And I won't lie to you, there was a part of me in my heart of hearts that wanted him to do that. I normally love animals, but I just saw this thing as a freaking doppelganger, and it ticked me off. Overall though, I mean, I'm giving this a hard time, I'm yelling at a lot of characters, but this was incredibly emotionally charged and admittedly manipulative storytelling. It was very gripping though, and I was definitely interested. I'm not going to be giving this show any awards for logical or consistent narrative or characterization, but I'm certainly also not going to be stupid enough to tell you that it was boring. I actually really enjoyed this week's episode, but I'd love to know what you guys thought, so feel free to leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye!